Alrighty, folks, it is still happening. DSCR rates are below conventional. If you want to get into that, you want to understand that, reach out to Convoy Home Loans, like it, lock it. We can talk about DSCR seconds. What is the combined loan to value and requirements there? We can talk about the power of using a broker, right? Lock in a rate and maybe float down. What the heck does that mean? But before we get started, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about rates being higher and that actually being a good thing. So, Jonathan, I know you are an active investor. I know you work with lots of investors. I'm curious, what are the professionals, the good investors doing today as rates go higher versus the wannabes, the pretenders? What's going on today?
Well, everyone that I know in the investor community is they're all excited. They're all really looking forward to this market, as am I, right?
Mhm.
And anyone that I have in my circle, everyone's can't stop talking about the opportunities that come up. And
Exactly. Yeah.
if people saw my group texts with like, different syndicate partners that I have and whatnot, it's like I literally am at work. I pick up one call, I look at it. There's like 15 new messages. I look at it again. It's like 30 new messages. Those are all just listings that people are just sending off market and on market. And
Mhm.
that's how excited the happy, good investors are right now.
Mhm.
Um, Different from the new investors, the first time home buyers that might be like, oh my gosh, is this the right decision? Like, should I wait? Is this something that I should do? Which I'm having to field as well, right? At the same
Oh,
time,
of course. Yeah.
because I have those clients as well. So it's more like, but if I think once people get over the fear, you see the other side, and you're like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime, right? We're gonna
Yeah.
probably go on the biggest equity raise in the next like 3, 4, 5 years than we've done in the last 3 years as well. So I think that's what I believe. So
Yeah.
I think this is a super crazy opportunistic time, once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. It's really funny. And again, a lot of people aren't going to really get it. And frankly, if you don't get it, don't care. Really
Hmm.
don't care. But I
They're
mean,
gonna
just
hate you
watch.
for it.
I don't really care. I get hate. I get hate every day. I get hate because of my name, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But if people watch my channel, just in the last 10 business days, two of my millionaires have locked up single family home deals with seller financing. I'll say that again. Two of my millionaires, one of them, Anna Kelly, I don't need to hide the name, Anna Kelly, hasn't bought a single family home in over 5 years as an investment. Rates shoot higher. She does what she does. She networks. She does everything I talk about on this channel and in my courses. She finds a seller who wants out, higher later in life. She can't. The property's in condition where she can't get a traditional loan. She talks to him about doing seller financing. She gets a rate in the sixes for 30-year fixed amort, 30-year am fixed at in the sixes, and it's going to be a cash flow monster. And this is why the folks that are doing the work understand what I'm saying. Higher rates slow the market down. Fact. A slower housing market means people who have to sell. Because here's the deal when you're selling properties, you have want to sell and have to sell. Want to sell can pull their stuff off the market and wait for a different day. Have to sell, have to sell. And sometimes those properties are in condition or have unique attributes that make a conventional sell unlikely. I love those opportunities. So it's not shocking to me that the boys that you're running with are sending group text and just ecstatic because I am as well, both for the market I know and the market I'm learning. I'm excited. I I hope conventional rates stay in the sevens. I hope we get back to eight. Shoot, why not run it to nine, guys? Who cares? But let's have a slower housing market for some years so that you and I could go find motivated sellers and get some deals done. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of seller financing, that's obviously how I share my investing journey as well, and that's how I got my last property in Koreatown, right? I mean, it's the same way, right? And I was talking about the San Bernardino deals that I was meeting with a client and also potentially buying, and that didn't work out. Too many back taxes, and that's part of the doing the work,
Yeah,
right? You
it's
you do
it's
you run it, and you're like, even if it's cheap, if there's too much like hair on the deal where it's like way too hairy, it's like 80 grand to fix it up, plus there's back taxes, plus there's then it's like at a certain point you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I
Oh
gotta
wait.
walk away from this.
Pass.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always in a slow dude. You're such a genius. A lot of people they find the one deal, the San Bernardino deal, and they just treat it like this precious little egg that they're trying to get to the
yeah,
finish line. But guys, if it's too hard, it's too hard.
yeah.
Just move on and get something else. All right, that's enough. I'm excited. You're excited. A lot of people will be hating on us. Frankly, don't care. If you don't get it, keep renting. Fine by me. Keep paying your landlord. That's okay. But let's talk about DSCR loans lower than conventional. I want the audience to hear this. That's not normal. DSCR
Yeah.
below conventional. But as of the 18th, which is the day we're recording this, it is factually true.
It's crazy because I think it's like almost I think 375 or 50 basis points lower on rate than conventional right now. And that's because non-QM hasn't moved as much as the conventional market in the last 2 weeks. Because, non-QM market is always forward looking and conventional market is always reactive on the day to day. And because of that, our the rate sheets haven't moved that much. They moved a little bit, but not enough to make a huge difference. And that's kind of driving, I think, more people right now where I'm like, hey, right now is the opportunity of a lifetime. If you need to lock it right now, like this is the day to lock it. This is the week to lock it before they update it because I don't know when they're going to update it. But right now, while it's lower, like, and you're trying to
Lock.
weigh between the two, lock it. What's the point of waiting? Because we know in the next 60 days, rates will not be lower than where they are right now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything you get now is better.
Yeah, folks, we're going to post this today. Usually I post these on the following day, but this is such an important conversation. I want to make sure this video goes out on Thursday, the 18th. In fact, I might make the very next video that goes up. If somebody wanted to reach out to you today, how would they do that so they might be able to lock something in?
Yeah, go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came from where at. Again, it's this is a rare, very, very rare opportunity. Like we're talking about,
Yeah,
we're acting a little more nonchalant than it actually is, but like
it's
this is a
wild.
big deal. It's
It's
it's a
wild.
big deal, right?
It's
Yeah,
wild. It's
yeah,
wild.
yeah,
Well, again, that's amazing. Hopefully, some people wake up, they're shocked in the action. They reach out to Convoy again, folks. Tell them you came from ORAT, because if you do, you get right to Dustin and or Jonathan. If you don't, you get in a queue. And let's be honest, you want to deal with the big boys. You don't want to be in a queue. So next thing we got to talk about, which is also super sexy. This is something I talked about 2 years ago, right? We have interest rate lock-in. We got a lot of people with 2s and 3s and 4 interest rate. We got a lot of equity growth. People are going to want to access their capital, so they keep buying, but they don't want to touch the first. So I knew, and I called it, that there would be a DSCR second created. You have one. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about CLTV. Let's remind people of the power if they choose to go that route.
yeah. So obviously the beauty of the DSCR second, other than or that's separate from just a normal HE loan second or a HELOC, is this is non-income qualifying, right? It's just based on the rental. The reason why this is, I think, a more popular product and a more powerful product is over the last 2 years, there's been a huge movement away from potentially W-2 employees and into full-time investors and also self-employed people. So because of that, this gives you the power to be able to tap into your equity without having to use tax returns, which you don't have 2 years of. And you need to do self-employed like tax returns, and you have to write off less. You got to pay the
Yeah.
IRS more in order to qualify
Yeah.
for a conventional loan, right? So this is a second loan that's a 30-year fix that goes behind the first loan. Rates aren't pretty; they're like 10 to 13%. But
It doesn't
if
matter.
your
It's a
loan is,
smaller
yeah,
amount. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
exactly, exactly, your blended rate is so much lower overall. So it's like you're going to take that, you're going to be able to use that equity, tap it into something and buy something else that will generate more than a 10 to 13% return. And then you're good, right? As long as
Yeah.
you have a utility use for it. The max combined loan to value is 75%. So a good example of one that I have is I have a client who's literally taking out the cash on a second loan from his properties, doesn't want to touch the first, and using that cash to buy other properties in cash in smaller, like
Yeah.
cash flow states that have smaller properties. So like 75,000, 60,000, 50,000. But those things, like he's pulling out the 50 at maybe a 13%, but he's putting it
Mhm.
towards his property that's now free and clear,
Yep.
buying in cash and cash flowing $1,800, $2,000 a month. So
Yeah.
you put 50,000 in, and that covers the payment plus more, right? So
Yeah.
now you have a net positive of like 1,300 bucks a month in between the two properties. So it's like a no brainer. But this is the power of using the
Yeah.
DSCR second versus just using, let's say, a full doc second.
Yeah. Folks, at the end of the day, I want to be clear. I don't think, taking 12% money is for everybody every time, but it is for some of you some of the time. If you want to reach out, talk about this. I love the idea of calculating the blended rate. I think that's such a big deal, especially in a world where some of you have firsts at 3.8. Understanding the blended rate is cool. Jonathan can walk you through that. I think understanding that growth, like if you're in growth mode, which Olivia and I were in for better part of 10 years, I was a big part of recycling capital. To be clear, not everybody does it. As everybody knows, Dion has never done it. Totally fine. But if that's where you are and that's what you're doing, this could be a great way to do it instead of touching the first, which again, understand blended interest rate. It's pretty powerful. So very, very cool. We got one more thing, Jonathan. We got to hit floating rate down, power of using a broker. A lot of people don't understand that as a broker, what floating rate down is. So define it for us, please.
So in an environment like this, where rates are going up, right? It's in your best interest to, at the start of the loan, just lock it, right?
Lock.
Because yeah, there's no reason to flow at anything. If you're already digested and you already know that, okay, I'm okay with this payment, I'm okay with this rate, like you want to lock it in because if the market shifts, the only way it shifts up in the near term right now is up. So you don't want to lose that thing. However, there are times where the market shifts to the negative, right? Negative meaning down, where rates come down. And if that happens, there's opportunities to be able to float down the rate, which means if it improves by a significant chunk, we're able to actually apply to request the rate to be floated down to the new market. Or what I've been doing for a lot of clients is, look, there's no harm, no foul. I will submit your loan to 2 or 3 different lenders, right? And lock it with one and float it with 2 others. And if the market shifts and let's say all of a sudden the rate drops like crazy, I can always move you over, transfer everything over, and then close you on the same time frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that only a broker can do. A lot of people, I've been getting a lot of calls, like because I think Chase is getting aggressive with like housing credits and such, and like they're like giving. I'm like, hey, the only reason they're giving you like $4,000 in like credits is because they're including it in the rate. Like, there's nothing free.
Yeah, it's in there
Yeah,
somewhere. It's in there somewhere.
the banks don't do anything for free, right? Unless you
No.
have like millions and millions with them, in which
Yeah.
case they're like, I just want to keep your name. That's it. Other
Yeah.
than that, they're not doing anything for
Yeah.
free,
If
right?
you're
They don't
not
care
in
about the people.
private, if you're not in private wealth management, you ain't getting anything for free.
Exactly. Exactly. So um this is kind of a powerful tool because if let's say the market shifts down, then we can pivot,
Yeah.
right? Which is the power of a broker working with any broker. It allows you to shift down. If the market goes up the other way, aren't we glad that we locked? Right. So
Exactly.
that's the most important thing, right? And I'm like, it's not worth right now the risk of floating anything because we already know where the market's going to go. I think
Yeah.
everybody knows, right? And then they gave up hopes that rates are going to be lower in the next 30 to 60 days. I'm getting a lot of callbacks being like, I should have just listened to you at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
and
you
like
should have.
December. Yeah, when you were like, hey, rates are going to go up, I should lock in now. And
Yeah.
I'm getting calls from people being like, "Hey, I'm glad you almost forced me to do it because now I wouldn't have been able to do it." So I'm like, "Hey, that's what I'm here for, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what you guys do at Convoy Home Loans. People can go back on your playlist. You've created new products. You're really finding the market. You're educating folks. You're giving your opinions when asked. I think it's amazing what you and Dustin are doing. Thank you for that. But folks, this is the power of using a broker. You want to be with folks that think like this, that are frankly willing to do extra work. Having 2 files open, one locked, one not, is not free. There's money involved in that, but they will do that for you. Uh, how would they reach out to you and get scheduled, speak with you, and get something started?
Yeah, go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came from where at.
Yep. Tell me you came from ORAT. You get one of the two guys. Otherwise, you'll be in a queue, and nobody likes to be in a queue. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.